I mean, we spent a half hour on that. Like we talk about, you're judged outside by the column on the left versus the column on the right. Nobody knows what our definition of happy is. Nobody knows what any other team's definition of happy is. You would think 10-0, everybody's happy because everybody's got 0 losses and 10 wins. Not always that way. It depends on the lens you look through. Our guys have been growing since winter. We've got a lot of new faces. First time on the red is obviously exciting, but it's the first time on the red for a lot of new guys too, not just this 23 team, but a lot of guys on this 23 team for the first time. And that's where I invite anybody and everybody, come on in, watch film. I mean, just look at it from a non-fan's perspective. Ton of growth. You faced 2 totally different outfits on the road. You went to Minneapolis, a neutral site, versus a run-first outfit. Then you went to Fresno the next week, and wouldn't say run first, but wouldn't say pass first. They're a mixed offense. Defensively, North Dakota State heated us up. Fresno didn't heat us up as much. And we had a lot of success in pockets. More success in week 2 on paper, because everybody reads the paper. But there was a lot of success in week 1. And that's the beauty of coaching. It's like the beauty of parenting, too. Kids get good grades. Everybody thinks they're really smart. They work really hard. Sometimes it's just easy for some kids to get good grades. They don't know what's going on, or not good grades. That must mean that there's not good teaching, not good parenting. The associations get weird. 0-2 is 0-2. Team we're facing is 0-2. Team we're facing has been on the road 2 straight weeks. There's a lot of similarities between these 2 teams, outside them being ranked in the top 25 in the preseason. They're coming off a playoff bid, beat Idaho at home last year. They're more than capable. They got a bunch of new faces too. They're trying to settle on a quarterback, ton of team speed. They're going to be hungry. They've been in both games for more than just 2 minutes. 7-7 Mississippi State in the first quarter, 7-7 at halftime against South Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. We're in for one, but they're in for one too. And so we're both going after the same thing, and we happen to be at home. So it's been back-to-back road games. We've left it all out there, and it's nice to know that this team is energetic enough to bounce back and not have our lips on our shoelaces as we go into week 3, playing on the home turf for the first time in 2023. So it's just a lot of same faces, a lot of new faces, just a different vibe within, regardless of what it says on the left or what it says on the right.
Interesting the quick synopsis you gave of their team and the way you guys have played. Sounds like we're in for a heck of a football game.
Absolutely. Offensively, they're a very similar version to us offensively. So they move the tight ends, they spit the ball out quick, they run some screen game, they get the ball to playmakers in space. They're going to have some trickeration a little bit. They like to get creative with their offense. They'll roll the dice on 4th down at times and try to push, to make you make decisions. Their special teams aren't going to hurt themselves. The nice thing is, and the one advantage we have is we're hosting. They're the guest. For the first time for us, this is our 3rd straight road game for them. We got to take advantage of that, the right advantage of it, and not just think we're up 14-0 because they're on the road for the 3rd time. It's 0-0 out of the gate. But our mentality's in a good spot. We had a good practice yesterday. Our guys are giddy. We've only gotten better, and if we continue to get better week in and week out, and polish some things up, i.e. penalties, then we've got a pretty darn good product heading forward.
No students this week, but you are at home. Guys didn't seem to think that was going to be an issue just because it's the first home game, and like you talked about, a lot of guys are playing their first game. Just talk to me about playing this first game at home and maybe how that helps your preparation or makes it easier.
Yeah, no students the last 2 games too. On the road, there's not too many students that packed U.S. Bank or at Fresno. And again, I know it's a question that you have to ask or want to ask. I mean, if we're playing because the students are in the stands, then I think our motivations are prioritized wrongly. There's a lot of work put into this, coaches and players alike, and the people behind the scenes to get to those 3 hours on Saturday. We can't worry about if, Road G seats 1 through 13 are filled or not. I mean, if we're doing it and that's our motivating factor, then it's not going to work out real well for us, and it never will. Not just this year, in any year. The first one on the red, students will come back into town this week, so they'll start rolling into town. They'll be energized. Weather should be good. Hopefully the wind's light, but we're excited for the opportunity to finally get it home for the third game of the season, first at home, heading into Big Sky Conference play. But we got to have a good one today, tomorrow, on Thursday, polish it up Friday, and let it rip on Saturday.
As a coach, on that last drive when Keikoa, there's a possibility he chucks that ball in, 20 rows up. What's kind of the message you give a young quarterback in that situation where, he doesn't have to dwell on that play too long when, it ends up costing you the game, but obviously it could have turned out differently should other things have happened?
Yeah, I think quarterbacks probably get too much praise and they get pulled down and ripped down too soon. He's going to win a lot of ball games here. He is. That one throw might be a memory for a lot of people. We got to do as much as we can to leave it a small memory for him, a learning memory at that. He did a lot of really good things, and I don't want one bruise to in the game by a great catch by their linebacker in that situation to negate all the other good things he did, because not a lot of things went right in that first half offensively outside of a 12-play, 8+ minute drive that secured 3 points for us. Outside of that, we didn't do a ton of things. And then the second half was a whole different piece. So that 20 minutes in between halves allowed us to kind of wake up, and we kind of had our way in that second half. And so he's going to win a ton of games here. And this just in, and you put this on record, he's going to make mistakes here. That's how you learn, is making mistakes. And he knows that. That's a quarterback position. It's not all going to be perfect. If we can minimize those, we got a better chance. And I told him walking down the ramp last week, quarterback's best friend is a run game and a defense. And we got that going in the second half. The defense has played pretty well the first 2 games. So those are nice as a quarterback, not feeling like you have to make every play on every series to manufacture points when you have a run game that's starting to get going and a defense is playing really well.
As an old O-lineman, is there something that you're seeing in the offense that's kind of keeping them from starting faster and, not getting to halftime and having to kind of come back?
Well, I think the first 2 games, the first series we've gone for it on 4th down and didn't get it. I think that play in and of itself, you put the onus on me. I want to be aggressive. I want to stay aggressive. But we also got to play to our strengths. Our defense is playing really well. But the first 2 games, we've been just on our side of the 50, going for it in 4th and 3 or less, and got neither of them. And so it kind of put us behind. Then they scored first, but we still scrapped back. It took us a while to get back. But who knows how that works? If we punt the ball and all of a sudden it's inside their 20, they got to go the length of the field. You could say after the game, well, they didn't go 20-20 the entire game, so why didn't you punt in the first quarter? Well, I don't have a crystal ball either. At the end of the day, we want to stay aggressive. Analytics don't play. A lot of that's gut feeling. Trust our guys. It didn't get done, and we leaned on the defense, and we gave up a short touchdown to start the game, but we held serve the rest of the half to get to a 14-3 with them getting the ball and still coming out to get to overtime. So some of that's just sports. Some of that's just competition. But I think starting fast will help us getting the first couple of first downs on the first drive offensively to kind of get the ball rolling, get a little confidence, and kind of loosen things up.
And with your offense outgaining Fresno State, your defense played exceptional. Just what's kind of your level of pride in this team right now as you head into your home opener here after everything that happened last year and where you're at right now? Just what's your level of pride in what this team's been able to do?
Well, I mean, it only builds. I mean, we're 2 out of 11 on the schedule, and through 2, you feel like you've grown a ton. And again, whether it's on paper or not on paper, we see it daily with not just the players but the people that are the players. They've grown a ton. They've got to know each other, and it's been 120 minutes of football thus far with a ton to go. Growth isn't always just gaudy numbers. I mean, that's the easy one to say, boy, you guys really don't. Maybe it's a guy that tripped and fell, and all of a sudden you hit a double move. Well, it's an 80-yard touchdown, but had the DB not tripped and fallen, it might have been, the ball would have been OB. I mean, it's easy to relate to numbers and go, gosh, you guys are really good on 3rd down. Well, the percentages say this. Who did you play? Where did you play? How short were the 3rd downs? There's a lot of context in that stuff. I got a lot of pride regardless. I got these guys' backs. The coaches have these guys' backs. We're surrogate fathers to these kids year round. I mean, they see us and the strength coaches more than their parents when they get to college. That's prideful in and of itself to know that you're kind of raising them after they got out of the house at 18 years old through the game or the sport of football and other things that go with that. So it's just tough when all year long you're preparing 4 games and you only get 11 on the schedule, but you prepare 12 months out of the year to do it, and you're so scrutinized in those 11 contests week in and week out. But we're gonna stay on the ride. This has been fun. Wins and losses aside, up to this point, this is a bunch that has grown a ton on and off the field. They've matured a ton on and off the field, and they're hungry for the first win.
How huge is that growth from the first 2 road trips? Get those out of the way for the younger players and some of the new guys as well.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to be at home for the first time because it's a new going on the road is different, but also being at home for the first time is different too. Sleeping in the same bed's great. Playing at 1 o'clock is even greater. I love road night games selfishly, and I love day home games selfishly. Get up, get a walkthrough, get some food, and go play ball. That's the way it's supposed to be played. And so I think we're excited. We're practicing at about the same time we're going to be playing at, which will hopefully marry up to the schedule on Saturday. But things get weird. You can have a great week of practice and not have a great game, and not a great week of practice and have a great game. Sports are weird like that, especially 11-man football when you're counting on the other 10 guys in the field. So it's all about competing. If we're willing to do that, then we probably have a better chance.
Nolan said he was colder on the AD as he's gotten older on the road trips. Does he have a complaint there, or how do you feel when you go on a road trip?
I'll tell you what, I like me some hotel sleep. I told guys 15 years ago when we had Tank, I said, you guys that will have kids will enjoy the fact of getting from the team meeting on Friday night and being able to go to your bed, watch whatever game's on Friday night, whether it's Ball State and Akron, it doesn't matter, watching ball Friday night, getting hotel sleep, get a little sweat in the morning, and going to play. And a couple of those guys, once they had kids, said, boy, you're not far off. There's just less distractions on the road when you get to that point, and it's fun. You got to hold serve at home, but you got to win games on the road if you want to call yourself a great team.